Okay, so good afternoon to all the students and viewers. So in this tutorial we'll explore uh, how we can actually use HTML to create a form that looks like this. So this is actually a typical HTML form, and you can see that there are some fields in this form such as degree, student ID under the academic information section, and then we have the personal details section under which we have the fields for first name, last name, gender, email, and two check boxes. And after that we have a large text area in which we can mention some additional information. And after that we have two buttons named send form and clear form. So let us understand what the process is of creating a form like this. So first of all, let me just go through the entire form and show you what these individual fields actually mean. So first of all, we've got this academic information. So this is actually a sort of like a label or caption above this field. So this is a part of something called field set. So if we just open this, so this entire box with the boundary in it is called a field set, and the caption that we have called academic information, this is known as legend. So the code for this, this is the code for our HTML page, but at the beginning you can see that it contains some CSS code. So I'm not going through the details of the CSS code right now. I'm just showing you the main HTML code first, and then if we have some extra time I'll be exploring the coding under HTML. So first of all, we have got in the so the entire code for the CSS is included in the styles section under the header, and after that we have the body section, which is starting over here, and in the body we've got the form. Okay, so first of all, what we need to do before we can create a form, we need to go to the body section and we need to start the form by using the form tag. Okay, and inside the form tag we have to include the code for our form. And as this form is a static form and we are not sending this form to any other web page, so we are not including any get or post method inside the attributes for this form. We are simply including the form tag. So inside the body of the form tag you can see that there is something called field set and legend at the very beginning. So if we just compare it with our form over here, you can see at the beginning there is this rectangular box with a gray outline, and above it there is a line called academic information, two words academic information. So this box separates the other section, that is the personal details, the personal details section. This separates academic information from the personal details section, and they are separated from each other by using the respective boxes. And to create a rectangular box like this, what we need to do is we need to use the field set command. So inside the field set command we have something called legend. So field set and legend. So the field set command actually creates a box, the rectangular box, and the legend command actually creates this caption. Okay, so field set creates the box and legend creates the caption. So under this caption we are mentioning academic information. Okay, so this is how we create the box for the field set. So giving the field set part is optional. It is given merely to improve the appearance of the form. You can create a form without giving the field set part. It is not mandatory to give the field set section or the legend section. So whenever you are giving a field set, you have to give a legend section, otherwise this box will look kind of meaningless. So after this we've got something called degree and student ID. So let us take a look at the code once again. So we have label for degree. So first of all we've got the text degree, and after that we've got this drop down box which contains Master of Business Administration, Bachelor of Arts and Bachelor of Science. So this is actually a sort of drop down box that we have seen in Windows, and by using this box we can select multiple options. So this is implemented by using a select and options command. So here you can see that to first of all we have given the label part. So why is this label section given? So the label is given because if we click on this label, you can see the box associated or the element associated with this particular label will get selected by default. So here also in this personal details section I've used labels for first name, last name and so on. So if I click on the first name, you can see this box is automatically getting selected. So here it is a bit difficult to demonstrate with the drop down box, but you get the idea, I hope. So this is the label for this degree. So whenever you include something in the label tag, the associated element with this will get selected automatically. Okay, so now we go to the drop down box. So inside the drop down box we've got three choices: Master of Business Administration, Bachelor of Arts and Bachelor of Science. Okay, so first of all, in order to create the drop down box, we'll have to give the select command, and in the select command we have two options: select name, degree and ID. So this is the name of this drop down box. The name is degree and the ID is degree. Okay, so we have two attributes under the select box. So giving the name is also not mandatory, and ID is also not mandatory. So we have given it nonetheless. So name actually signifies the name of the drop down box and ID signifies the ID of the drop down box. Okay, and then under this we have three options. Alright, so first of all we've got Bachelor of Arts, and Bachelor of Arts is the first option, and when this Bachelor of Arts value is selected, it will be denoted internally inside the form as BA. So the value of this Bachelor of Art, this text called Bachelor of Art, is BA. So whenever I select Bachelor of Art as the first option, then it will be this BA option will get selected. So this one is the first value inside the select column. Alright, so inside this drop down box, whenever I select the Bachelor of Arts option, the value that will be selected internally is BA. So BA is correlated to Bachelor of Arts. Next we've got another option called BS, which stands for Bachelor of Science. You can see in the drop down box there is another option called Bachelor of Science. So when we select this Bachelor of Science, its corresponding value, which is BS, I think, it will get selected. So under every possible option there is a value. So whenever we select any option out of these three, the corresponding values associated with this option will be selected. So finally we've got something called Master of Business Administration, and it is selected by default. So here you can see apart from MBA we've got something called selected, right? So MBA and selected, and the value of selected field is set to selected. This means the Master of Business Administration, this value will be selected by default. Okay, so unless you explicitly change it while running your form, this value will be selected, and this Master of Business Administration, that is correlated with the value of MBA. Okay, after that we've got some blank spaces. So after degree and student, you can see that there are a couple of blank spaces, and after that there is a field called student ID, and under student ID we've got the password field or the ID field. Alright, so student ID is actually a label. Once again we are using the label. So whenever I click on this label, you can see the student ID field is selected. So whenever you include a block of text inside the whenever you include a block of text inside the label field, on clicking on that particular label, the associated element, which is the text box in this case, will be selected. So inside the student ID field we've got a a box. So it is not a standard text box, this is a password type box. That means when you type something in that box, it will not be displayed. Instead of the actual text, some asterisks will be displayed. Okay, so for this box, the input type is password and the name of this box is student ID, and placeholder is your password and ID is student ID. So for this particular text box which is of type password, the name of this text box is student ID and its ID is also student ID. So why we give this name and IDs? So the reason for giving these names and IDs is that if we want to include any kind of JavaScript code in our form, then say when we enter some value in the student ID field, a pop-up window will be displayed. So this is implemented by using JavaScript, and to associate the pop-up window with that particular this particular text field, what we'll be doing is we'll be giving a JavaScript code, and we'll be associating it with the ID of that particular field. So for that reason the ID is given, so that we can link this ID with the JavaScript code for this particular box. And name is usually given when we want to transfer a value, say from one page to another. Say we want to transfer the details of the student from this page to another page. So the details will be forwarded under the name of this particular text field. So for instance, the name of this field is password. Say we want to validate the password in another page. So this password will be transferred from this page to another page by using either do-get or do-post method. Get or post method, not do-get or do-post. Those are associated with JSP, not HTML. So when we want to send data from one form to another page, we usually do it by using get and post methods. So this has not been demonstrated in this form. So when we are transferring the data from one page to another page, so the data from one field is identified by its particular name. So if we are trying to send the value of the student ID, that is the password, from this page to another page, so it will be transferred under the name of this student ID field. So the name will be, in this case the name will be student ID. Okay, so for this reason we are giving the name attribute and the ID attribute. The ID attribute is usually assigned for any kind of scripting language, and the name is usually given to identify the field with which it is associated when we are doing some kind of manipulation of the data from this field. So say we are manipulating the data by sending it from this page to another page, so in that case the name field comes in handy. After that we have got another, so this field set ends here. So you can see this box ends after the student field, so there is a margin after that, and after this another field set is started by using the field set command. So this field set encompasses all these fields: first name, last name, gender, email, and these two check boxes. So for each of these fields we've got labels. So first name is associated with the label f name. So when we click this first name, when we click on the label for the first name, its corresponding text box is automatically selected. Similarly, when we click on the label for the last name, the text box associated with last name is selected by default. So it is for this reason that we assign a label with this text. So we surround this block of text inside a label field, so that when we click on this text, the label or the input type which is associated or the text box which is associated with this particular text gets selected by default. Finally we've got the last name field. After that we've got the last name field. Similarly, when we click on the box for the last name, as this last name has been included in a label tag, so when we click on this last name text, this field is selected by default. So we have assigned a label for each of these texts. So the label for the first name is f name. Similarly, we can assign we have assigned the last name text under the label L name and so on. So there is no rule as such for creating the label name. You can assign any arbitrary name to it, but make sure that none of the elements, no two elements in your form has the same label name, otherwise it will create a conflict. So finally, after first name and last name, so after first name we've got a standard text. I think there is a standard text box. So earlier we had seen the standard input type password box. So this was a password type box, but for this first name and last name we are using a standard text box only. So this is the text box, this is also another text box. Okay, and so the difference between a password type input box and a text type input box is that when we enter some values into a text box, it will be displayed exactly as shown as the values entered by the user, but when we are entering a value in the password field, instead of the actual password, it will show up as asterisks in order to conceal the actual password. After that we have something called the gender field. So gender is also included inside a label tag, you can see here, and there are two radio buttons. These are called radio buttons under male and female. Okay, so male and female, there are two radio buttons, one for the male and another for the female. So how to make the radio buttons? Okay, so you can see that this line of text called gender, this is the line of text, and input name is gender, type radio, so and ID is GM. So this input type, so this is also an input type like text box and password. So the type has been changed to radio, meaning that this input field will be a radio box. Okay, and you can see that this has also been assigned a name. Okay, so there are two radio buttons. You can observe that one of them is called the male button and the second one is called the female button, but both of them, even though both of them have different values, the male one has M and the female one has F, the names of both of these fields are the same. So when you want to include a group of radio buttons under a single entity, the names of all the buttons will have to be same, so that they are grouped under one category. So here we are grouping male and female radio buttons under the same category, which is gender. So if you are grouping a group of buttons under one category, the reason we do that is because you cannot select more than one button at the same time. So if we assign the same name to both of these buttons, we can select only either of these two buttons at the same time. So if we change the name of any of these buttons to something else, then you can see that we can simultaneously select both of the buttons at the same time. So let me just do that. Let me rename this first button as gender 2 and save this, and let me just reload this page. Then you can see both the male and female buttons can be selected at the same time. That is because both the radio buttons have been assigned different names, distinct names, but this should not be done. In a radio button is usually given so that only one of the available choices can be selected by the user. So to make sure that only one of these two choices is selected at any time by the user, we have to assign the same name to all the buttons that are presented under under the radio buttons. So under this category, all the buttons that are there, they must be assigned the same name. So I have now renamed it back to gender, the radio button for male. So let me just save it and reload the page, and now you can see we cannot select both the buttons at the same time. So when I select another button, the previous one gets deselected, and the ID of the first male button is GM and the value is M. So when we select the male button, the value that is selected internally is M. Okay, so when we get the value M internally, we can know for sure that the male button has been selected. After that, we've got label for GM male. So when we click on this male field, you can see that the associated button is selected automatically. That is because the male this text called mail is included inside the label tag. So as I've told you before, whenever we include something inside the label tag, the associated element or the entity will be selected automatically. So you can see in a similar way we have included this text female inside the label tag. So when we select the female tag, this is this female text, this associated button is also selected. And then we have the email field. So this is also a standard field, text type field. So here you can specify the email. Okay, just wait a minute. Okay, so this is the text box for entering the email. Okay, so after that we have got so we have finished up to email, and now under the personal details tab we've got I am from BTech and I am from diploma, these two check boxes. So for this we are using the input type checkbox. So far we have seen the input type password, input type text, input type radio, and now we come to checkboxes. So the difference between radio buttons and checkboxes is that we can select both, that is all the available options simultaneously, unlike radio where we can only select one of the available options. So when we select the checkbox option, what happens is that the associated checkbox is selected. So first of all we've got one option called I am from BTech. So this option is represented as value A. So when we select this particular option, the value A will be selected. And you can see there is also a second option called I am from diploma. So here also the input type is checkbox, name is degree. So these two boxes have been grouped under the same name, degree, and the value is B, but here is another attribute called checked. So this checked attribute has been set to checked by default. That means when you are loading the form for the first time, you can see when we are loading the form from the first time, I am from diploma will be selected by default. Alright, so for that reason this value is set to checked. So if you do not select any of these two options, this I am from diploma option will be checked by default. So after that we go to the text area option. So text area option, so this is after the details of the personal details tab, under which there is the text area option. So inside the text area we can enter a large block of text. So in the text field there is a limitation as to how much text you can actually enter, but this text area which follows the personal details section is quite large. So you can see the large area is there, and we can enter a large paragraph inside this text field, this text area. So the text area has also been assigned a name called terms, and there are some columns and rows inside. So the columns stand for the number of columns that are there, and the rows stand for the number of rows that are there. So this is quite analogous to a matrix or a 2D array. So just as in a matrix or in a 2D array we've got some rows and columns, so you can just think of it in terms of a 2D array. So here you can see that there are 30 columns and 4 rows. So this vertical attribute, this is actually the row, and the horizontal attribute is the column. And you can see that the value, there is another attribute called read only inside the text area field. So read only value has been set to read only. That means we cannot enter any text into it right now. So as long as we set it to read only, we are not being able to enter any value to this text field. So if you actually want to enter any value, you will have to remove this read only part. Okay, and by default it says terms and conditions. So this text will be present inside the read only field, inside the text area. So this is like a placeholder. So in the previous password field we had something called a placeholder, which showed a block of text when nothing was entered by the user. In a similar way we've got terms and conditions, which is the default text that is present in the text area field when nothing is entered by the user. So this constitutes our text area. After that we've got two buttons. The first button is called send form and the second one is called clear form. So the send form, this button is labeled as, it is of type submit. So this is another kind of input which is submit type, and the name of the field is submit. Okay, and the value is send form. Similarly, so when we submit the form, what happens is that if you link your page with another page, so say we have linked the page to another page where we'll be retrieving the values from all of these fields and we'll be validating them. So when we click on the submit button, the values from these, all of these fields will be transferred to that page. Okay, so we have not actually linked this particular form to any other page, so this is actually going to do nothing. But if we had linked this form to another page where for instance we wanted to validate the data that was entered by the user, so that would have happened after clicking the submit button. Okay, so this submit button is it is shown as send form. So when so the text that will be displayed on this button, that is actually controlled by the value. So under value we have entered send form. So when we enter send form as the name of this text field, it will be shown here. Sorry, as the name of this input button, it will be shown here. So this is a button of type submit. Similarly, we've got another reset button over here. So the reset button, it is pretty obvious what it does. So when we click on the reset button, it is of type reset. So when we click on the reset button, all the values from this field are removed and everything is cleared. Okay, it is like hitting CLS in DOS. Just as CLS clears the entire screen, here clicking on reset will clear all the values that may be present in this form. So let me enter some random values over here. So if I click on clear form, you can see all the values went away. So upon hitting reset, all the values were cleared, and this option which was supposed to be selected by default, that also got selected. So this is the process of creating a form in using HTML. So we've got some additional CSS code in this particular file, but I'm not going into that right now, otherwise it will be a very long video. We've already exceeded the 20 minutes time limit. So what I'll be doing is I'll be explaining to you the details of the CSS code that we have implemented for this particular form in another video, in another subsequent video, or in another class. So the CSS code is optional, it is not mandatory, so we have simply used the CSS code to beautify and improve the appearance of the form. Otherwise it would have looked very generic. Okay, so I'm ending the tutorial now, and if you have any doubts regarding this tutorial, please feel free to ask me, or you can post your queries in the comment section. So have a nice day everybody, and take care.